Welcome to the podcast Investigations of the Unknown, where we explore the strangest mysteries, hidden truths, and encounters beyond our understanding. I'm Mr. W, your guide into the unexplained, speaking to all my fellow investigators out there. I invite you to leave behind what you think you know. Close your eyes, let the static of the world fade, and follow me into a story that brushes the edge of reality. Tonight, we plunge into a recent incident that has reverberated through the very halls of power. A perplexing encounter off the coast of Yemen that challenges everything we thought we knew about our world and the unseen forces at play within it. Close your eyes, if you will, and imagine the deep, velvet blackness of a desert night, the silent hum of advanced technology drifting high above. It was October 30th, 2024, when the vigilant eyes of an MQ-9 Reaper drone peered through that darkness, tracking a luminous orb off the Yemeni coast. This was a region already tense, where the air hums with the ongoing operations of our forces against Houthi targets. The orb, a shimmering enigma, moved with an almost ethereal grace, its presence an unwelcome question mark in restricted airspace. A green light was given, a decision made in the blink of an eye, and from another MQ-9 drone, a Hellfire missile was launched, a precision weapon designed for devastating effect. The missile, an AGM-114, capable of Mach 1.3 speeds and weighing over 100 pounds, hurtled towards its target. It was designed to pierce armor, to neutralize threats with kinetic force or explosive might. But what happened next defies conventional understanding. The missile struck the orb, not near it, not glancing off, but a direct impact. Yet, instead of detonating, instead of disintegrating its target in a flash of destructive energy, the Hellfire appeared to simply bounce off. The orb, seemingly unfazed, continued its path as if nothing had happened, with some reports even suggesting that fragments, perhaps of the missile itself, trailed along with it, mocking the very laws of physics we thought we understood. This astonishing footage, a mere snippet of military data, was brought before a House Oversight hearing on September 9, 2025, stunning lawmakers and witnesses alike. Investigative journalist George Knapp, testifying before Congress, articulated the collective bewilderment, stating flatly, "That's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO, and it just bounced right off," and it kept going. He spoke of vast archives of such videos, hidden from both Congress and the public, hinting at a truth far grander and more unsettling than we are permitted to know. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna directly challenged the witnesses, asking if any technology in the U.S. arsenal could survive such a strike. The unequivocal answer from U.S. military whistleblowers Jeffrey Nuccetelli and Alexandro Wiggins was a resounding no. The sheer thought of it left them, and U.S. Air Force veteran Dylan Borland, visibly shaken. Naturally, such an extraordinary event invites scrutiny and, as always, a chorus of skeptical voices attempts to ground the seemingly impossible in the mundane. Some suggest that the target was nothing more than a fabric balloon, flimsy enough to be pierced by a Hellfire without triggering its impact fuse, explaining the lack of detonation. The apparent high speed of the orb, they argue, could be an optical illusion, a trick of perspective known as motion parallax or backscroll illusion, where the drone's movement over vast water creates the false impression of rapid movement from a stationary or slow-moving object. After all, Hellfire missiles are primarily designed for ground targets or slow aerial targets like helicopters, not nimble, high-speed aerial phenomena. Perhaps, it's proposed, this was merely an opportunistic strike on an enemy drone, the missile a dud, or simply missing its intended critical point. And the debris could be nothing more than optical artifacts or shredded fragments of a conventional balloon. These rationalizations, while attempting to soothe our unease, often overlook a crucial historical context. For decades, the U.S. government, influenced by panels like the CIA's Robertson Panel in 1953, actively debunked and ridiculed UAP reports, dismissing them as hysteria or hoaxes. This created a profound stigma, a chilling silence where military personnel feared for their careers if they dared report such encounters. Even the term UFO itself became synonymous with conspiracy theories. It wasn't until individuals like Lue Elizondo and his colleagues in programs like AGM began to push for transparency that this narrative started to shift, leading to congressional hearings and a formal acknowledgement by the Pentagon and NASA that unidentified anomalous phenomena are indeed real and demand serious investigation. The very act of attempting to conceal this information points to a deeper mystery, a deliberate obfuscation that continues to this day. But let us delve deeper into the recurring patterns that this Yemen orb incident shares with phenomena reported across the globe and throughout history. The very nature of this orb, small and luminous, echoes countless sightings. From the Foo Fighters reported by Allied pilots in World War II, described as mysterious balls of light that followed aircraft, to indigenous peoples reporting luminous orbs emerging from the Ohio River Valley centuries ago. These glowing spheres are a consistent element in the tapestry of the unknown. More disturbingly, these orbs have been witnessed not just in the vastness of the sky, but sometimes within the confines of private homes, causing fear of surveillance and raising questions about advanced, intrusive intelligence. Remember the blue orbs of collars, Brazil, that left victims burned and unconscious, or the blue orb at Skinwalker Ranch that allegedly vaporized 2 dogs, leaving behind only scorched earth and a chilling residue? The Yemen orb, by its very existence and its defiance of our weapons, slots perfectly into this pattern of enigmatic, resilient, and potentially dangerous luminous phenomena. Consider also the uncanny affinity these UAPs display for our most sensitive sites, particularly those associated with nuclear power and large bodies of water. The Nimitz and Roosevelt carrier strike groups, both nuclear-powered vessels, have experienced protracted UAP encounters on the open sea, with objects of varying shapes and sizes showing unusual interest in the fleet. In 1952, fiery disks zigzagged over uranium mines in the Belgian Congo, then darted towards Lake Tanganyika, one of the world's deepest freshwater lakes. In 1967, zigzagging stars appeared over Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, causing multiple Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missiles to go offline. In 1980, UAPs hovered over a secret underground bunker in Rendlesham Forest, England, where nuclear weapons were stockpiled. And in 1988, a massive object landed on the ice of Lake Erie, causing it to rumble and crack, with smaller triangular lights zipping into it before disappearing. This recurring pattern suggests a profound, perhaps vital, connection. Some theories propose that these entities might be drawn to liquid water for its dense hydrogen, a potential fuel source, or that they're monitoring humanity's development of nuclear technology, perhaps concerned about our capacity for self-destruction, or simply interested in reclaiming technology that our early nuclear tests may have inadvertently caused to crash, as was hypothesized for the Roswell incident in 1947. Then there is the sheer defiance of known physics that these phenomena exhibit. From the Tic Tac UAP observed by Navy pilots off the USS Nimitz in 2004, a wingless, silent, egg-shaped craft capable of impossible speeds and instantaneous maneuvers, to the butane tank-shaped object witnessed by Lonnie Zamora in Socorro, New Mexico, in 1964, which blasted off with a roar and blue flame before silently accelerating away. The gimbal video, captured by pilots from the USS Roosevelt, shows an elongated object rotating against 120-knot winds at 20,000 feet, utterly impervious to atmospheric resistance. These objects display no conventional propulsion signatures, no contrails, no sonic booms, no heat ablation, yet they move with a fluid, silent power that makes our most advanced aircraft seem like cumbersome toys. The variety of shapes, discs, triangles, cigars, eggs, orbs, might not signify different species, but rather different configurations of craft utilizing the same advanced physics. UAPs appear to cloak themselves, rendering them nearly invisible to radar and the naked eye, a testament to their low observability. Perhaps the most unsettling recurring pattern involves the direct biological effects on humans. In the Collars incidents, Victims reported radiation like burns, temporary blindness, nausea, headaches, paralysis, and even death, with blue orbs specifically linked to negative consequences. In December 1980, 2 women and a boy in Texas experienced severe skin burns, eye damage, hair loss, and later developed cataracts and cancer after a close encounter with a diamond-shaped UAP. The Rendlesham Forest incident in the same month involved military personnel experiencing missing time, vision problems, and heart tissue scarring after encountering UAPs. Former government psychic Joe McMoneagle, a remote viewer, once attended a meeting where he claimed he was cursed by a senator for doing the devil's work and praised by another for doing God's work. The U.S. government has even awarded 100% disability to servicemen due to UAP-related medical issues. These are not mere psychological anomalies. They are tangible, often devastating, impacts that speak to a technology far beyond our comprehension, one that interacts with our biological reality in ways both subtle and brutal. All of these seemingly disparate incidents, these recurring patterns, coalesce around one speculative, yet increasingly compelling hypothesis: the warp bubble theory, championed by brilliant minds like Hal Puthoff. This theory posits that a single breakthrough technology could explain all 6 observed characteristics of UAPs: hypersonic velocities, instantaneous acceleration, low observability, transmedium travel, anti-gravity, and those disturbing biological effects. Imagine, fellow investigators, a localized bubble created around a craft, warping space and time itself. This requires an obscene amount of energy to compress the space ahead of the craft and stretch the space behind it, theoretically allowing for faster-than-light travel. Inside this bubble, occupants would experience normal conditions, insulated from the crushing G-forces that would pulverize any human outside. From our perspective, the craft appears to move at impossible speeds, defying gravity, silently slipping through air, water, and even space, because it exists within its own pocket of distorted reality. The Hellfire missile's failure against the Yemen orb could be explained by this very principle. If the orb was encased in such a warp bubble, the missile, upon impact, would have struck not the physical craft, but a field of warped space-time, scattering its energy and deflecting its trajectory without damaging the object within. Furthermore, this bubble could explain the biological effects. As light or radiation passes through this warped space-time, its frequency could be shifted or blue-shifted into harmful wavelengths like UV rays or even gamma rays, scorching human tissue and causing internal organ damage to those outside the protective field. This effect might even distort our perception of time and the craft's size, explaining instances of missing time or objects appearing larger or smaller than they truly are. This unifying theory suggests an intelligence far more advanced, perhaps even interdimensional or extraterrestrial, capable of manipulating the very fabric of our universe. The consistent interest in our nuclear sites and vast water bodies could be explained by their need for immense energy, perhaps harvesting the dense hydrogen in water for fuel, or perhaps, as some speculate, merely observing us, gauging humanity's threat level as we near a danger point with our destructive technologies. The implication, then, is not merely that we are not alone, but that we are being watched, studied, and perhaps even interacted with by entities that operate on a different plane of existence, indifferent to our perceived reality, yet capable of profound impact. The incident off Yemen, where a Hellfire missile, the pinnacle of our destructive power, recoiled from an unknown orb, is a stark reminder of our limited understanding. It compels us to ask, if the most advanced technology we possess is rendered impotent against an unknown, silently observing presence, what does that truly mean for our place in the cosmos, and for the very definition of security in a universe that continually reveals itself to be stranger than our wildest imaginings? This concludes today's episode of Investigations of the Unknown. I'm Mr. W, and I hope our exploration has sparked your curiosity about what lies beyond the veil of reality. Until we meet again, stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop questioning the unknown.